ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to GameStar TV and our grand final match. And we got a little bit of shaking up to do because the teams have both agreed we're not going to play a best of 5. Things have run a bit longer than usual, or than expected, so we're going to be playing a best of 3. But Crimson is going to still maintain their 1-0 lead. So they are 1 game away from winning the grand final. Darksided, 2. So to take you through the match is Skimmy and Vandy, and it looks like Vandy's not in her seat. So
I swear I'm actually in the seat. I swear.
All right. So to take you through the start of the game, we'll take it over to Skimmy. So go for it, Skimmy.
No worries, Jill. Let's jump into this one, mate. So, we are on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Looking at the map bans, we had Crimson as the highest seed, technically speaking, going for the upper bracket. They went for the map ban. They want the first picks. They banned away Warhead Junction. Darksided respond by taking away Sky Temple, a map which they've not really had too much success with. As a result, they do go to the home stadium, as you will. They've gone to Tomb of the Spider Queen. They're looking to try and set the precedent, set the tone, make this a 1-1, make it a quick series.
Yeah, absolutely. Not too much of a surprise to see Darksided opt into Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's a map that they really perform quite well on. The heroes that they tend to favor do really well on this map, especially the Chromie coming out of Darkside. So could very well see that pop up in the bans as we get into the draft in this first game of the grand finals.
So typically speaking, what defines Darksided? Well, we've seen them play very aggressive comps, hence why the likes of Sky Temple has been taken away. They played it earlier today against NMD, tried to do a bit of a different draft. Didn't really work to their success. But in terms of sort of the patterns they've started to establish, they've always banned away Genji in that first pick rotation. And second ban seems to always have a priority on the Arthas as well. Because they like to play the aggressive comps, those heroes can do a lot of work against it. And it tends to be there's a high focus on the likes of Ufa or even just Stitches to try and establish that, get them some momentum, and get them the wins.
Yeah, we have seen them be very much favour the things like Uther, Stitches, Greymane, just get that solid group together and then just work from there. Or, as we've been seeing pop up even more over the course of the day, just the Chromie. Haki's been so prolific on that hero that he really does start to draw bans, but it's actually going to be the Gul'dan that's going to be taken away right off the bat. So, really interesting ban from, I believe, Crimson is on blue, so yeah, that's a really interesting one because that Chromie is more than likely going to be left available.
I mean, they've played Gul'dan before, but you'd be thinking, this has to be a Chromie. They played it in the finals, they've played it today, they will play it at any opportunity they get to make, right? So true to their name, true to their characteristics, they do ban away the Genji once again. It's going to be interesting to see, though, what is the first pick? How do they decide to set things up with? Wouldn't mind seeing the Ufa locked in to start the day off with, to start the series off with at least, and then sort of force the aggression on the side of Darkseid to lock in their first 2.
Yeah, the Ufa probably is one of the most likely options to start with, or even something that you kind of anticipating a Chromie pick and working your composition towards dealing with that right from the get-go. Just nip that right in the bud and not allow the Chromie composition to really just overtake you just in draft.
I wonder if that's what Crimson are thinking right now, thinking, do we get baited by this? And they do decide, nope, let's go for the Greymane, another pick which we've seen Haki love to play when given a chance. So Ufa, once again, starting to slowly fall down in the pecking order. As already touched on at the start of the day, Oriole going to find a lot more love as a result. Where do they go with this one? Well, it is the Demise special. They go for the Zul, and they pair that with Vikrak on the Malthael. 2 great heroes that have given them so much success as a team.
Yeah, one thing that's real interesting is that usually you'd see one or the other of these two. You'd see either the Zul for the dual lane soaking or the Malthael for a solo lane pressure. But we see both of them on the one side, so really interesting pickup for Darksided. And on the other side, the Valor and the Oriole, that is a very strong combo. But there's one hero that can kind of deal with that really well. And that is the Chromie, but we'll have to see if that actually gets banned right away here.
A change of events. They actually decide to switch things up here. They are the ones banning away Ufa. And now seems to be that Crimson are considering the likes of banning away the Arthas. So given those first 3 picks, very much the same as what we just saw on stream to close out the series against NMD, And you had to imagine that if you are on the side of Darksided, you know exactly what they're looking for and how to mold your comp to beat it.
Yeah, it's really interesting the way this draft is going. It's not what we usually expect out of Darkseid. I mean, yeah, this is an off-season tournament, so there's not nearly as much on the line compared to what it will be once we get into the full season and start banging away at those qualifiers. So we could kind of look at this as a kind of testing ground for some of these compositions, and it is going to be the Arthurs taken away, as you've mentioned, and there's still that Chromie just leering in the background, waiting to pop out in this draft.
Much the same as the finals, when I was thinking there has to be a Chromie ban. It didn't come out, and Nomia really felt the wrath of it when it came across and just put them in the ground.
Yeah, we were very surprised at that. There was a few very confused looks exchanged at that moment, but for the situation, it seemed very confusing. But in this one, I can understand the Arthas ban not wanting to try and just walk face first into that, especially when you have a Valor and a Greymane, which really do get have a bit of a tough time against that Arthas.
It seems to be that Johanna once again is paired up, amplifying the potential that this is a map for wave clear, this is what we want, and this is what we're going to build around. And then they go for Lieutenant Morales as well, which is a hero that I once upon a time critiqued, or criticized, I should say, against Mooks, and he said, let me show you how it's done, and absolutely is what he did indeed. And say the sort of option that he's chosen this over is Stukov, given how much love he's put on Stukov, but you saw what Stukov did against his Greymane Valor before. It wasn't a pretty sight, so they're thinking that Lieutenant Morales is the option to dealing with the sustained damage.
Yeah, the difference, like Morales and Stukov, they can bring a considerable amount of healing, but it seems like Stukov's delayed healing with having to activate it, the pustules and all the healing generation things, it's just not fast enough to deal with the amount of upfront damage that the Valor and the Greymane are able to put out. So I feel as though the Morales is going to be able to not only give that extra healing, but also the durability with the safeguard. So it's probably a better option coming up against those two. But on the side of Crimson, we have an incredibly strong finishing off to that draft. The Stitches is going to be paired up with that Tassar, and the Tassar with the Valor. They got that Trinity. But here we go. That Chromie coming in right at the end. This is going to be a real spicy one.
The all-important Chromie. We knew it was coming. It's just a matter of when. And with Leica now being on Stitches, he won't have that ability to squash the Gnome. He's not on the Mirrodin. He's not on the Diablo. He's not able to do what has been so successful in the two other series against a Chromie. So Stitches now is looking to find even more value. Yep, the Slam build has been slightly nerfed, but those hooks become that much more important.
Yeah, and one of the only things you kind of need to wonder is, what about the follow-up to the hooks? Usually we have the crowd control from something like an Uther or a Malfurion, or even something like a Kalthas. Just something to continue the lockdown chain so the damage can come through. Looking on that side of Crimson, they have nothing. They have a Rain of Vengeance at level 10 from the Valor, but apart from that, they don't have any lockdown to just completely lock down any hook targets. They're pretty much just working with damage there.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to be on the emphasis to see how much of an MVP Moon Druid truly is. He's picked up 2 today. Can he get the Detainment Strikes on the hooks? That is the question. But once again, it's the combination they love. They played so well. Despite taking away the Arthas, they're still looking to shred on down those targets. But really, the ball is in the Call of Darksided. They've done, once again, a classic composition for this map in particular. And let's get the ball rolling. This is a best of 3. It's a grand final. No best of 5 this time. Time constraints have made it shorter, but it is a 1-0 lead in favor of Crimson. So let's introduce this team on the right-hand side with the map pick. This is Team Darksided. Moops on Morales, Vikrak on Malfael, Session on Johanna, Haki on Chromie, and Demise on Zul.
And on the blue side, 1-0 up in this series. They only need one map win to take this whole day, and it is going to be Crimson Esports. Altivian on the Tassadar, Azure on the Valor, Moon Druid on the Oriole, Jesmez on Greymane, and Leica is on the Stitches.
Love me some Stitches. It almost feels that the Stitches was a denial pick away from Darksided. We'll have to see how it plays out into the fold of things, because the hooks are going to be crucial, and they know exactly what those hooks can do. Session loves it. Arguably one of the best Stitches in the region right now.
Yeah, he has shown an incredible proficiency, as we do get a nice level 1 team fight though.
They are going to collapse upon the Bone Prison. Vikarek with the flank, looking to apply those Reaper marks early on into this game. They will have the superior wave clear, to be quite honest, and they will have that clumping up with Sashin going in with the Condemn, looking for the targets and looking for the block from Heki.
Demise taking a decent amount of damage, but Moops on that Morales is able to just burst heal that single target, and that's one thing to think about when going up against Stitches, is that usually a lot of the damage is just front-loaded onto a single target. Morales can deal with that just fine with the healing, with the safeguard, as Moondrew takes a lot of damage from the Chromie. Ooh.
Moondrew getting a taste of what death feels like, living so close to the wire, does force that well tap, does force the rotation to come back out again, and much to the delight of Azure, pop off with the energy, give that team some heals.
Yeah, that's one thing that is going to be something that Darkside are going to have to try and deal with, is that the battery, and they essentially got that Trinity combo of the Oriole, Valor, and the Tassadar. So once we get into those grouped up situations, that's going to be a real challenge for Darkside to deal with. But the Chromie does have the tools to just just completely nullify any kind of healing with just how much damage she can do.
In the bot lane, Vikarek's going to have a great time. Quite easy matchup against the Tesla. Won't have too much pressure applied, but in the mid lane, that's where the focal point is again. The stuns come out, and the one shot. That's why you got to be careful. Chromie on this map, it's what they love. It's what they're well known for. And Haki starting to give us a little glimpse of what is to come in this game.
Yeah, and just one thing to note is that with the Zul, the Bone Prison, it's just the perfect setup for the Chromie. It's not an immediate lockdown. It's that delayed reaction that gives the Chromie the time to just line up the shot and just blast them immediately. It's kind of like the temporal loop where you have that timing, you know where they're going to be, and you can line up your shots to hit them right at that point. And it's kind of the same thing with Zul right here, and it's going to be real rough for Crimson to deal with, especially as they don't have any cleansers.
And once again, the question has to be asked, why are teams letting Chromie go through? Especially if you're going to be running this Oriole comp where Chromie does so much, almost the biggest counter towards it. If you let that go through, you need to start reevaluating these drafts during that VOD review, because Haki's going to start to dictate the pace of this game single-handedly with the follow-up, with the CC, with the ability to one-shot heroes. They are going to show you why Tomb of Spider Queen is the map for them to make you feel feared on.
Ooh, they want to get aggressive on this rotation as Sasha does cop a hook, but with all the healing and that safeguard from the Morales, this is going to be able to walk away with absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Time traps there, forcing Larkin to back away once again. He hasn't opted for the spell armor at level 1. He's going to cop a lot of damage regardless if he's a tank or not. Straight away down to half. Hook is good, on towards Haki. But the healing beam just switches focus right there. And right now, it does not matter who they go for, because there is so much sustained damage coming out of this Crimson lineup. Moops can just sit back, sit safe, and keep everybody on top much better than what the Sukon could do last game.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing the value of the Morales pick, and one thing I was talking about in the draft is the lack of follow-up CC, and we're just seeing, even though the hooks do... Oh my god, as Moondrew cops another shot as Haki's walking real far forward.
Sure, looking for the trade. He could have nearly gone for it, but he was so scared of that bush, and rightfully so. Two members from Darkside are hanging in there looking for it. The hook goes across, but Leica can't land it. The follow-up was not there regardless. But the first hand in does go in favor of Darksided, and that will help them get this level advantage.
Absolutely. They're going to be able to push in, at least get a couple of towers, and Moondrew does get hit with the bone. Oh,
wow.
That is just rude, that combination.
It's just, see this? You never get sick of seeing it. You hate versing it, but you just love watching it. It's so satisfying to see someone go from 100 to 0 really, really quick.
It's just so disgusting to watch, and it's just that combo of the Bone Prison and the sheer damage of the Chromie. It's just going to be real rough to deal with, as they do get the hook onto him, though.
Yeah, Cleanse comes across, not necessarily needed. They do manage to get him out of harm's way. Bot lane is still so rough for Altivian. No mana, no real wave clear to deal with the Spider, as the members are still in mid lane. Vikarek potentially looking for the rotation, but the Web Weavers do the damage. They expose mid and bot, and they establish this level lead.
Yeah, this is... Even though it may not seem like too much, already this composition from Darksided is really dictating the pace of this game so far. Even though we've been seeing some good hooks onto Haki, they're just not able to follow up on it. Either the damage is already been used onto Sashin, who just pretty much just ignores the majority of it, or it's just not communicated well enough so that they're just not able to apply enough pressure to this Chromie, and she's able to just fire away for days, and it's gonna be a rough way back into this from Crimson. They need to get those really good hooks and those really good picks going on.
Absolutely. He has opted for the Tenderizer talent at level 7, so not the Toxic Gas, not the extra DPS, but more so the control. They lack that hard CC to follow up the hook, so if they can find a target, they can control how he moves and how he can actually sort of stick around in this fight, because right now Mooks pops the safeguard, pops the heal, and anything that Crimson try and pump into it is just completely negated.
Yeah, we just see the amount of damage coming out, and there's not enough, like, even though the Oriole with the Valor does pump out a reasonable amount of healing, it's just not enough for the amount of burst that a Chromie can pump out, so it's just, even though it's still very close in terms of experience, in terms of the structures, it's just, the way things are going, it's really rough for Crimson already.
Target is always Moondrew, and he just cops so much abuse, and it's only going to get scarier. That's when the mind games are going to start to kick in once level 10s have been achieved. Once the Aegis is popped, it acts almost as if it is a Zul prison working against them. So, have to see how he tries to play those mind games as it progresses on, but still, the level difference is in favor of Darksided, closing in on level 10, looking for a second hand and making it back-to-back and keeping up the pressure.
Yeah, one thing we do need to know is the amount of gems on the side of Crimson. They do have enough for a turn-in, but they just don't have any position around the map to do so. We saw them try and get a turn-in earlier, but with the amount of range on the Chromie's abilities, she is just going to be able to interrupt for days, and they need to at least play safe enough that they hold onto their gems, as we do see a nice pick up on the bottom of the map, taking down that Malthael.
Really, really good there. They're saying, look, we've had enough of just dealing with these lanes and just losing from the rotations through mid and top and back again. They go to the bot lane, they take out Malfield, they lose a lot of gems as a result. Works in their favor. Sashin trying to force the agenda in the mid lane. He does use the Blessed Shield, but it whiffs. They get the Gorge on towards Demise, and he's just picked up like that. Curse Bullet comes across. This is the patience, the diligence, really, from Crimson Esports coming out here, working in their favor, and now they, with 81 gems in their possession, can look to utilize their ultimates and look to get their own set of web weavers. Yeah,
it was a really nice Gorge coming out from Leica, managing to drag the Zul back into a really good position for the rest of the team to follow up on. So really nicely played there, using their heroics to give themselves at least a space to get that handed, because should that Zul be around, they just would not have been in a position to be able to just get that handed for free, as Sashin is going to be taking a lot of damage, but here comes the rest of the team.
He's juking for days, but only juking to delay the inevitable. And there goes the hook attempt. This is good. And I mean, let's talk about it. Crimson Esports, their sieging potential is really good with the likes of both Greyman and Vala. You've then now got the patching, because now Chromie is an easier target to find off. You've got the full sword, the detainment strike into that full sword. Suddenly, CC is not as big of an issue as it was before.
Oh my god, there goes the Greymane. Just kind of disappeared, I mean. Yeah, really nicely played there from Hacky, and that is pretty much just going to diffuse this whole situation. They have to back away. They need to be a little bit wary of that Chromie and the amount of damage she's able to pump out. She does have reaching through time, so she can do it from a much longer range now, and with the amount of wave clear on this lineup for Darksided, those web weavers aren't able to get a hell of a lot done. So really nicely done from Darksided to completely, almost completely deny the amount of advantages gained from that web weaver phase.
Hacky almost laughing at me, saying, "That's cool. You think they have sieging potential? Watch this." Instantly deleting Graham.
Just hold my beer.
Now you guys can't do anything.
Don't worry, I got this.
Yeah, have fun.
Absolutely. And Sashin, he has been an absolute trooper. Yeah, he's been copping the brunt of a lot of the damage coming out from Crimson, but he's been okay to just cop it. Oh, here we go.
Gorge onto Vikrang, Rain of Vengeance and Detainment Strike. Wow, beautiful. The coordination is there, and they get the kill. That's great. 2 picks on towards Malfield, which is starting to open up a window of opportunity for them. If they can keep exposing it, if they can keep making it a 4v5, the Chromie can only do so much, and this is keeping them in the game. A much closer level separation between the two of them.
Yeah, it's really nice that Crimson are opening up this advantage on the bottom side of the map. We've been seeing the Malthael up against the Tassadar for so much of this game. It's not really been a hell of a lot going on. We've just been seeing the Malthael just control the lane, and the Tassadar just in a holding pattern, as we do see Sasha taking a bit of damage. Oh, a nice force wall separates the group.
Uh-oh, they are fighting on so much damage. Tormented Souls, Poison Nova, and Chromie controlling them with the damage. That's the Aegis. That's the bait, and that is that hybrid sort of Bone Prism working against you. And now this is where the fun starts to happen for Darksided. One by one, they fall. It's like Domino's Cheaper Tuesday, but you're not eating pizza, you're eating kills. 4 people drop on down. It's the quadra kill. Jizma's running it straight through mid, donating the pentakill. And that's what you like to see.
That was absolutely disgusting. The amount of AoE damage coming out from Darksided. And this was the perfect time to get that fight. We see the Web Weavers pushing in, and they're going to be able to take a fair bit out of this. And we see the experience right now. It is absolutely ballooned right now. And Crimson are not going to be happy about that one.
No, this is potentially a keep. They're going to get it down to half. They're looking to try and disengage right now, but the Force Wall is good. Entertainment Strike does not connect with the Force Wall. That's pretty bad news for the guys in Crimson. Oh my, the damage coming onto the backline supports of both Moon Druid and Altivian. Instantly, whatever chance of chasing, squashed.
Yeah, it looked like they were wanting to get a little bit aggressive, trying to chase them down and stop them from retreating, but yeah, that damage coming out of Haki really forced them to rethink their actions.
Note the positioning here of Session. The rest of the team are waiting. Leica, great mental awareness there to check. Isn't going to get flanked upon this time, but 16 is literally a second away from being picked up. They're going to try and force it with the fighting advantage. Leica looking for the hook, does not connect once again.
This is a very good position for Darkseid, and they're going to use this advantage to go for this boss. We do have Leica doing the good thing and trying to get some vision for the team, but with the rest of the team just completely elsewhere on the map, there's just not much they can do right now.
There's no counterplay towards us. They can't steal the boss. They can't get 16 in time to deal with it. They don't have the gems to try and sort of counter push against the boss. So right now, they just have to take a lot of pressure to the face, wait for 16 and say, now we can try and look to force the fight. I mean, potentially Darkseid to say, this boss isn't going to do too much. You're distracted there. We just finish off what we started with that mid lane keep.
Absolutely. Just looking at the 16 coming out of the Malthael, Memento Mori, the amount of extra damage that it does, and especially on the neutral camps, the boss gets absolutely demolished. So really nicely played there from Darksided. Nice patient play there from Darksided, and really nicely done there. They will get that middle keep, and that's going to be a point of pressure for the rest of the game. And should we get a really definitive fight coming out of Darksided, could just end the game right there.
That is the win conditions set up right through the mid lane right now, and Leica, you can see, starting to get a little bit frustrated, but let's not forget, it's only one hook that you need to land. As sad and as sickening as it seems when you keep missing those hooks and you've got those feels, bad emotions ready to type in chat, if you can land that one, that's all it takes.
Yeah, absolutely. You can throw about 100, but as long as you hit that one juicy one at the end and your team is able to follow up, it is absolutely golden. Pick is made completely worth, and well, we're still waiting on that cohesion to really kick in on the side of Crimson. They've been getting some of the hooks, but just the follow-up hasn't been there. The follow-up has been more on the Gorge, but then again, you do have that rather considerable amount of time to work with as they're trying to rotate down to pick off Altivian, but the Force Wall is going to deny it a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to go for that collapse on Altivian. They're not going to force that Blessed Shirt out. Not the best target to go for. Once again, Leica looking to try and get a hook over the wall. Can't seem to connect. They are literally seconds themselves now away from 16, and that's going to give them the best chance of trying to force a fight with their mid lane keep down, with 20 fastly approaching. It's putting this game on a timer.
Yeah, and now that the members of Darksided have enough gems for another turn in, they are going to just continue playing the map game, and they're not going to worry too much about trying to force their way into the base. They have the tools to just poke and prod here and there and just try and force a mistake out of Crimson.
Well, the pressure is not showing any signs of slowing down. They begin another siege. This time, attention is put into the top lane with the wave pushing already in their favor in the bot lane. Web Weavers will catch up with that minion wave. Pretty much, the Web Weavers in the mid lane will complement that catapult, so it puts you in that sort of definitive situation of how good is your shot calling and how do you dictate these fights. Once again, 20 is still a fair way away, but they need to start making something happen now. Otherwise, they're constantly in the back foot with lane pressure against them. When do you find that opportunity to engage?
Yeah, that slam build is starting to get some work done, but it's just not nearly enough. The amount of damage coming out of Darkseid is just way too much for this Oriole to try and heal up, and this should be this keep going down.
Yeah, ultimates and controlling spells were used mainly as a way to actually ensure this keep was picked up, if anything, and it should drop.
And here comes the Medivac, and it looks like they want to just keep this rotation game going real fast. They're not wasting any time. That keep goes down, and they're instantly onto the bottom.
Who knew you could blind a keep? Well, Sessions taught me something new. The damage from a blind blinds the keep, and it falls to the grave, and now they look to put their attention in towards the bot lane. That could be good! The Curse Bullet comes across, the Determined Strike into the wall. Now they're going to gorge him into the back line. Can they go for the kill? They're looking to try and get him. He's low! He stayed, survived! Moves has kept him alive. Leica is there in the back line also. So much went on, GeoPhoenix, but there's still no kills.
Oh my god, Skimmy, that was so close. They had the right idea, just separate the team and just pick off that front liner, but they just didn't have enough. The safeguard, the healing coming out of the Morales was just a little bit too much to burst through, and the rest of the team really came in trumps there for Darkseid, really helping out that Johanna, and it's going to just allow them to just stick around on the map and just deny any pressure from Crimson from being pushed in.
Level 20 on the horizon. Half a level until they pick that one up. A very small kill game, to be quite honest. 7 kills to 4. Not too much in terms of the PvP action. It's all about manipulating the map for this one, with 2 keeps down, a 3rd begun in the bot lane. Darkseid looking to keep this pressure up. You can imagine all eyes on that 20, all eyes on the soak. Back away, don't take any unnecessary risks. Gem count is high enough for the boys of Crimson. They have 67 out of the 55 required. If that's what they desire...
Oh, the hook is onto Morales!
That is the hook they've been after, on towards Moops. Can they get the clutch? Oh, the Rain of Vengeance is there. The double kill is easily picked up. Beautiful stuff. Textbook. As they make sure that 20 has no or little to no effect.
That is the hook that they needed. They needed to get the Morales. They needed to even follow up on that, and they did that perfectly. Managing to get that Morales out of the way, and they were able to even pick up the Johanna at the same time, so really nicely done there. And this is going to open up the boss for Crimson, and even though they are still a fair way behind, not just in the experience, but also just in structural damage. Oh my god!
Testigal just got bodied! Even a catapult shot came across with the vision from the Dragon's Eye. That is disgusting, and Hacky must be laughing it straight to the bank. Wow.
Jesus. Nicely done from Hacky, just proving that even when put behind, his Chromie is a thing of legend. I mean, bloody hell, he's
sticky as well. I mean, look at the bot lane. He said, look, I can let Hacky quite comfortably go for the one shot. He gets the one shot. They play the gamble plays off. Bot lane is pushing. These Siege Giants are on towards the keep. They're going to take it.
So there it is, that last shot, and this is just going from bad to worse, even though that boss was taken, because the side of Darkseid had the Malthael with that Memento Mori. Just absolutely demolishes the boss, only very nearly took down that fort, and they're so far behind Crimson when it comes to the structural advantage. Really not sure how much they're going to be able to get out of this. They need to keep on getting those hooks onto Moops, onto those squishy members, and get those pickoffs, or else it's going to be a real struggle for them to get back into this game.
Massive power spike for Malthael with the final kill in at 20 to amplify the throwing shade. So much continuous pressure, so much dot damage. Look at Murder, just bodied. He's got on his own. He needs some energy, he needs some healing. He does get it, but Stitches falls and the respawn timers are high. He's down for a full 60 seconds, and Vikrak is calling the shots right now. He's saying, this is not about Chromie, this is about me. Jumps in the back line, gets another kill, goes for the triple kill, goes for the core. Then medevac for style points, and Darkseid show everybody in the ANZ region why this is their map.
This is most definitely their map. They've shown time and time again that this is where they show their best work, and especially with that Chromie, I mean, we start to question why teams allow it through in the draft, and Hacky again showing why putting him on that Chromie, especially when they're able to craft such a very well-rounded draft, it's just too much to deal with, and Darkseid had level up this series, and it's going down to just a single map.
Grand final. Once again, the tension is high. It's 1 apiece with the winner's advantage for Crimson, allowing them to start things off with the 1-0. But we do go to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Darksider convincingly taking it. Questionable at the Chromie there. The fact that they did it through the draft, and it ran the show 0 deaths and top damage. Chromie really bringing the pain. But we will be jumping to game number 3 very shortly, just waiting for the boys to lock in the map choice. So as we wait for that to get ready, we shall jump once again to a quick 2-minute break. So don't go anywhere, guys. Appreciate your time.